What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Ark Survival Evolved. My name is Splattercat, and I'm happy to have you here today as we hang out for a little while with Shiggity Schwa! And I think we're actually going to build today. I've got a whole bunch of supplies like laying around. They're not super useful, but I do have them, and so I'm thinking it might be worthwhile to just hang out for a little bit and maybe use up some of the random wooden bits and pieces that I have. I don't know exactly what I want to do with all of them. I haven't decided on that just yet, but I do have about 40 random Lego pieces that we can play around with for the day, and so let's just jump up into here and see if we can do that. On top of that, I'd like to make a compost heap. I'd like to make a little farming area, even though we don't need it anymore. The Stegosaurus is so overpowered at collecting berries that I don't really need to farm anything, but I still kind of want to play around with the system because there's a lot of stuff that we haven't actually done yet in this series. And so let's jump up in here for a minute. I think I've got building supplies in here somewhere. There they are. So I've got 8 wooden walls, I have some doors, I've got like some hatch frames and some random stuff. I've got thatch foundations, which are all ready to go. 12 of them, in fact. So that's 72 weight. My God, that's a lot of weight. So with these thatch foundations, I haven't exactly decided what I want to do, but I think the best thing that we could play around with for now would be some kind of large enclosure for my dinosaurs. I'd like to have my dinosaurs all in one nice little area contained so that I can park them where I want them, and then I leave them and they should be fine until later notice. Where this spot should be at, I haven't really decided, but it seems like something along the ridge right here might work. And so while I don't have enough foundations to actually make this function the way that I want it to, because you can't lay walls on the ground, unfortunately, I think you can make fences, though. Is there a fence? Let's go take a look. I think you can make a fence, which is basically like the same thing, right? So what does a fence do? I'm not dealing with other players, so obviously if the fence is inferior, it just looks like a fence, then we'll use that. But I thought there was a fence enclosure or something in here. I thought I saw it one time. A metal spike wall. Yeah, that's sort of like what I'm leaning towards, but no, not quite. We can also do stone stuff. That was added in the patch yesterday, I think, or the day before yesterday. When you guys see this, it will have been added like 3 or 4 days before. This very cheap, narrow foundation is used to build fences around an area. Well, maybe that might be an easier way to do this rather than just putting up walls all over the place, because since there's no players, why waste a ton of time making myself things that aren't going to be useful anyways? I'm playing single player, so whatever. We need 10 wood in order for this to function right, and I don't think that I have any wood right now. I think I used it all up, unfortunately, but I would just make a fence that goes out to the side, up onto this ridge, and then we have it go all the way the hell down here, maybe? I don't know. I might have it actually come from right here on this side of the wall, and then we'll just have it be like a rectangle that goes around here. I'm going to break down those torches in just a minute because I don't recall why I put those torches down. Apparently, I needed to bear the flame for me. Everywhere, all over the place. It's going to be a musical episode. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm in a good mood. Like, I woke up this morning and I felt like shitty. Like, I don't know. It felt like my stomach was on fire. It was a weird feeling. Like, I had heartburn one time like 10 years ago when I was a little bit husky. I don't know if you guys, I've talked about this on the channel before, but I used to be a big guy. I was little, but I was also big, like husky. Like, I gained a lot of weight after high school. And I've taken it all off now. Like, I lost, I think, 80 or 70 pounds or something like that. And that's where I am right now. I weigh like 131 right now, down from like 205, which I think was my max. And it took me a good 5 or 6 years to do it. But anyways, I had heartburn one time when I was big. And it's like that feeling, except like in my stomach. I don't know. If it stays for another day or two, I'm going to go see a doctor and just be like, so, doc, what's wrong with me here? Because this feeling does not feel good. Worst of all, it like triggers when I eat stuff. Like when I drink anything or when I eat anything, it burns really, really badly. I don't know. I think I might have like an ulcer or something. It's weird. I'm not exactly sure. I am pretty stressed most of the times. I'm a person that thrives on it. It's also because I refuse to take my medication. That's the other problem. Let's see here. I'm super stressed all the time, and doctors have tried to fix this, but I don't like fixing it pharmaceutically, so instead I'm just like a ball of anxiety mess all the time. It works out, whatever. Life is good. I don't want to put in any walls right now. I actually feel like kind of an idiot for farming all this stuff out now that I know there's a fence. So let's go back to the eucalyptus forest, I guess. And I should probably bring a couple of these little critters with me that can carry stuff. Lash, how much can you carry? You got a strong back? 457, that's what you can carry? That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. Let's take Lash. I mean, Lash is a little bit slow, and I've mostly deforested like my entire island, but if I can get Lash out to a location where he can just like stand there and be pretty, because obviously Lash is a pretty lady. If he can just stand there and be pretty, did I say he and then she? I don't know if this actually has, what do you have? Do you have a Winky? Do you? Lash Nasty? Do you have a Winky? Or do you have a Perchina? Oh, okay, female. So there we go. Now we know. Has an innie, not an outie. I think I'll probably go off this way. That'd be pretty badass if your Stegosaurus could drive an Audi. It's like an extra large-sized Audi just for Stegosauruses. It seems like it would be one of those things that's very much a... It's very much a luxury item. Like, only the tip-top of Stegosaurus society would be allowed to drive the Stegosaurus Audis. But, you know, that's my significant other's dream car. She always talks about how she wants an... I almost bought an Audi one time. There was a guy downtown from me that was selling an Audi for a really cheap price, given the amount of miles that were on. I don't remember exactly what the number was, but it didn't have a lot of miles on it. Like, it had just ticked over... I think it had just gone over 100,000 or something like that. Like, it didn't have a ton of miles. Like, it had enough to where I would start to be wary about it. And, in fact, I was. The guy was selling it. It was in the paper. It wasn't in Craigslist. I think it was in the paper. What are you doing right now? You're not following me? I need you to follow. You will follow me. Follow me wherever I may go. Alright. There we go. So now Lash Nasty's coming along. I'm going to chop down some trees. I've pretty much destroyed all of the forest on this island. It's actually one of the big sort of markers of the fact that humanity has arrived, is that I have deforested everything on this side of the island. Like, seriously, all the trees are gone. It's a little bit sucky. If you live up inside of a eucalyptus tree right now, like if you're a koala bear, you are probably pretty bummed out about my presence. But what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So I almost bought an Audi one time, and I was talking with the guy, but he came across as, actually, through conversation, I Googled him after the fact, and it turns out he's an auto dealer, and he was selling the car on behalf, it wasn't even his car, and so after I started doing some digging, I did some online detective work, just to make sure, because I research people that I buy stuff from. I'm going to be hitting you up on all sorts of just random, like, data aggregate sites and just trying to figure out who you are to make sure you're not trying to cheat me. I don't like getting cheated. Everybody gets cheated once, and the first time you get cheated, it's not your fault, but every time you get cheated after that, it's totally your fault. And so you just need to, like, be wary that people in the world are going to try and cheat you and do shady shit. It is what it is. I don't like to treat people like that, and I don't like to feel like everybody's cheating me all the time, but my overwhelming experience has been that if people are going to be, like, if you're dealing with people, they're going to try and pull one over on you. It's just, meh, it happens. And so anyways, I looked up who the guy was, and it turns out he was an automotive salesman at a dealership, and the car belonged to a friend of his. I got some information. I asked him if it was actually his car, and he fessed up. He's like, no, he's selling it on behalf of a friend. And I was like, all right, well, has the timing belt been changed? Because if it's at like 100,000 miles or whatever, don't Audis and BMWs and Mercedes and things like that, don't they need to have like a timing belt change like every 50,000 miles or something? Like, I vaguely remember. I'm not a car guy. Like, I'm not really into cars, but I vaguely remember a friend of mine. I got a buddy who works at a Ferrari dealership. Like, that's all there. No, it's not a Ferrari dealership. He works at an exotic car dealership / mechanics place. And I remember having a conversation with him one time. You know the old saying, expensive car, expensive problems. He talked about how, like, high-class cars have, like, timing belts and a couple other things you gotta watch out for. And for whatever reason, normally I don't remember little things like that, but for whatever reason, I remembered it. Like, my brain was like, ding! And it remembered him saying something about that. And the guy couldn't tell me whether or not the timing belt had ever been changed on it. And so I ended up walking on it, because if the timing belt hadn't been changed, the fee that I would have accrued for getting it done would have put it well over what I was willing to pay for the car. And so I was like, but that's my Audi story. So there it is. I got to test drive it for a little while. It was pretty cool. Got it up to speed. Took it out in the country. I think I got it up to like 110 or 120. I got it going pretty quick. I like to drive fast. Have I ever brought that up on the channel either? I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up a red splotch on a road somewhere someday. I really like driving fast. It's like one of my favorite things. I don't do it in town or anything unsafe like that. I usually go way out in the boonies or like the sticks, or you go out to the desert when you're in the middle of like the Mojave and you just open her up. Hell yeah. And then just hope like an armadillo doesn't go out into the street and flip you off onto the side of the road. That's probably the most threatening an armadillo can ever be, is when you're at high velocities. Like, an armadillo is not a terrifying animal until you're doing 120 miles an hour and it steps out in front of you. I wonder if an armadillo would be enough to like fling me off the road in like a sports model car. Huh, probably not. Hit a deer one time, and Jesus, did that do a lot of damage to the car. Like, holy shit. That deer did a lot of damage to my car. And the deer wasn't hurt at all. The deer was just like, bump, and just got knocked off to the side of the road. It got back up and just like walked off. Perfectly fine. Like, damn. It took that hit like a champ. I don't know if I could take that. If a car hit me at that speed, I'd be like, nope. He ran out in front of me. He came out of some brush on the side of the road. Bump. Hit him. Broke my bumper. He actually broke my bumper and dented the whole front of my car, too. Did a surprising amount of damage. A surprising amount of damage for how small the deer was. It was just a little doe. It wasn't like a big buck or anything like that. Pretty small animal. But yeah, along the sides of the roads here where I live, there's like these little ditches, and you can't see down into the ditches when you're driving on the road. And so there's ditches on the side of the road, and I think it's to help the water flow when you're I think it's to help water flow in between areas, because what you'll find is in the hydrological cycle, humanity, like building cities and roads and concrete and things like that, it actually has a tremendous effect on the way that water aggregates and moves around hills and valleys and stuff like that. That's outside the breadth of what we're talking about right now. But anyways, here we have these big trenches on the sides of the roads that I assume anyways are for some hydrological purpose. I'm not really sure. They might just be there for looks. And anyways, they fill up with brush, and the city is supposed to come by. The municipal department is supposed to come by and cut the brush, but they only do it once somebody complains, typically after hitting an animal that ran out of the brush. And so, that thing, are you still coming, buddy? I need you to keep up with me here. How much thatch do I have? I probably don't have enough thatch for this either. Sorry, this is going to be one of those episodes where I just gather stuff for a while and we talk about jack shit nothing. So anyways, the brush gets up pretty high, like 6-7 feet tall, and then eventually the city will come out and trim it once somebody complains when they hit a dog or a deer or something like that. So while we're on the subject, the deer like to hide in these little thickets along the sides of the road, and sometimes they hear the car coming, and for whatever reason, their response to the car coming is to run out into the road instead of just sitting like safely in the ditch. And so that's what essentially happened. You have almost no reaction time. It happens constantly. And so the roads out here are just littered with like opossums and deer and turkeys, all kinds of stuff that try and cross the road from outside of those blind ditches. And it's a bad idea, but they continue to do it. They don't seem to learn. The turkeys, actually, they try to shoot the gap now because there's a big hill across the street. And so what the turkeys do now is they don't actually walk across the street. They spend all afternoon, you can watch them do it, they spend all afternoon walking up this big hill across the street, and then they launch off the top of the hill, and they glide their way across the street and land across. So say what you will about turkeys being stupid animals. They're not real smart, but they figured that out. They don't walk across the road anymore. They glide all the way across, and the deer and some of the other animals you expect to be a little bit smarter haven't figured it out, so it's probably an issue of equipment in all honesty. Deer aren't made for gliding. I know this because one time I tied a deer to a hang glider, and it fell quite catastrophically to the earth. Don't tell PETA, please. I don't want to get picketed and have fake blood thrown. I'm joking. I never did that. I don't think that there would be any... How would you tie a deer to a hang glider? That'd be rough. It's an engineering problem. I would definitely have to go over to the engineering department at my college, my alma mater, and be like, gentlemen, we have a quandary. I need you to affix this deer to a hang glider. And they'd be like, yes. It seems like a task that is worthy for the engineering department. The engineering department... They're a little bit hoity-toity. You got to come to them and treat them like kings. Otherwise, they got fragile egos. They fall apart. It's just placate them. Just do it. I promise it'll get the job done quicker. Just be like, oh, mighty engineer, with all of your superior knowledge, fingers crossed behind your back, please help us with this task that we must now accomplish, for I am but a lowly mud studier. Let's go over and grab a little bit of wood out of here. And so now that we got that, I don't know exactly how many fences we're going to make, but hopefully we'll get it done over the course of this episode. I don't know. This is one of those episodes that I probably shouldn't have even recorded. I probably should have just minded my own damn business. Oh, wow, we got to make 21 fences? Well, hell, that's pretty good. Do I get anything for these fences? Oh, you get 0.2 XP. That's not terrible. I mean, it's not, like, farmable, but if you're... Oh, no, you get, like... Do you get an entire XP for those? Oh, wow, you get like 1.3 for those. Those are actually a really good... Ooh, you get like 1.1, 1.2. I can't tell because it keeps ticking over right as it goes up. Yeah, it's like 1.2 or 1.1 that you get for each wooden fence, and they craft pretty fast, too. That might be worth it. Since the materials are not so bad, the materials are actually really, really simple on that one. You could probably make a shit ton of these in power level if you wanted to. I don't know if it's as good as farming narcotics. The difference here, I think, would be, actually, if you could farm these simultaneously. So you go out, you get yourself all the stuff you need to farm narcotics, and you get all the stuff you need for wooden fences. And once you do that, you would do them simultaneously, and I bet that bar fill up real fast. I'm going to craft these off camera because I don't want to waste your time, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so the fence foundations are done. It actually took a long time to get them done, so I'm glad that I decided to cut that right there. What we need to do is we only have the foundation, so we still got to build the fence. It's a thing that we're going to have to do in this episode. So unfortunately, I don't really have a whole lot of solace to give you if this episode has been boring thus far. But I figure I would just fill in the dead space with me talking about random stuff since people seem to enjoy that. So anyways, we'll grab this right here. And for a fence foundation, like, how do I put this in? It looks like it goes... right there. You attach it to a foundation, maybe? So how does that work? How weird. It actually looks like it's glitching through the ground right now. Is there any way to bring that up? I think that's just the foundation, I think. And so anyways, let's go ahead and we're going to line up our land right now. I think we got to hit the 9 key every single time that we do this, though. So yeah, 9. There it is. It attaches. You just kind of got to... Oh, you can also make it go at like a 45-degree... Okay, so that's kind of cool. Interesting. I don't know. Didn't expect it. I think we actually should have more than enough foundations to make this work. Oh, you can actually make it kind of organic, too. I didn't think about that, but that's why they have the 45-degree angles, so you can cut around corners and whatnot if you want to. I don't think I will. I'll probably just leave this going straight out, maybe. If I can actually get it placed. There it is. Okay, so we got it attached right there. Little bit more buildy going on right now. I haven't actually done a whole lot of building in this series, so I think it's probably a good idea for me to do so. There we go. You got to stand back from it a little ways. If you stand back, it seems to attach a little bit better. Yeah, there it is. Kind of, sort of, maybe. I would like for you to go straight right there. Okay, so we got that fence foundation in. I will more than likely take this right here. And I think what I'm going to do is we'll curve this back up and in like so. And if that goes straight from right there, that might look nice. I don't know. There it is. I'm starting to get a feel for it. There's kind of like a... There's kind of like a feel to it. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, there's a very, very... Especially with all this grass here right now. There we go. With all this grass here right now, it's difficult to see where you're going to be placing this, but I'm sure it'll be fine. What could go wrong? There we go. So we'll put you down right there. I still got a lot more foundation to run, too. So I may make separate pens for all my different dinosaurs so they can each have their own little... space. If I was playing on a multiplayer server, I'd probably just make stone walls around the whole thing just to make my life a little bit easier and assume that people are going to try and ruin my day every time they get a chance. But that takes it out and almost underneath my house. So then all the way back on this side, that gives us a pretty reasonably sized enclosure. I think we might be able to get away with... Well, it's hard to tell what I want to do with this. I think I'll curve it right here, probably. And then once we get that in position... There it is. Okay. Almost done with these. Unfortunately, I couldn't carry all the fences with me because they're kind of heavy, but... Oh, that one's off. Shit. Yeah, that one didn't attach right. Alright, so we'll do the next one then. I got plenty of... I think I have plenty of fence left. I don't know. If we take this out and into here, that'll leave them with a nice little eucalyptus grove, and they've also got some bamboo and stuff like in here, so it looks a little bit... I don't know. I want my habitat to be nice for my dinosaurs. Only the best for those who have decided to join me. And for those who have decided to spurn me, you will be destroyed. You will be destroyed very, very slowly and painfully. So remember that, dinosaurs who have spurned me. It's not a smart idea. Shouldn't have done it. We're thirsty again. When am I not thirsty in this game? I got 19 more foundations. The goal here is to get this to come around in some semblance of order. I'm going to break these two because I don't think I need it. Go ahead and demolish you real fast. And then we'll demolish you as well. There we go. So now that that's taken care of, I need some more water. Luckily, I got a jar of it, so we're good to go. I drink out of mason jars, so this is very, very familiar. I love mason jars. I got a ton of them. And I'm talking about, like, the real ones, too. Like, I got the jars that, what I do is I repurpose, you know the jars that you get the, like, the Prego or the Pregu or Ragu sauce in or whatever, the glass jars that those come in? I repurpose those. I use those for drinking glasses after I get done with them because they're big and they hold enough water for me. There we go. So that'll be fine right there. But yeah, I got a ton of ragu jars at my house that are all full up with water, and that's what I drink out of most of the time. Got that right there. I prefer that to normal glasses, actually. It's not just me being like a weird retro hipster or whatever. I like the feeling of glassware, and it's cheaper than buying real glassware. So, you know, not that classy, but then again, I never had the pretension of class anyways. I'm going to have to get rid of these bushes real quick, otherwise I'm not going to be able to see anything. The plus side here, the upshot, is that I haven't had a whole lot of fibers lately because I've been farming using the Stegosaurus, so I've been running out of fibers left and right. So there we go. That should allow us to hook back towards the house, I think. We're not quite lined up yet, though. So we got to go out, I think, like maybe 2 more, possibly. There it is. If I can just work my way through the brush, we should be okay. Big old enclosure for our little guys. And then I think I actually have to buy the fence, too. I don't know if I've actually bought the fence engram yet, but that's going to be the next thing that I have to work on. I'll probably do that part off camera now that we got the foundations laid down, just to prove that I do, like, crafting missions and stuff like that. I think now's the time where I probably want to start hooking back towards base. The most efficient way to do this, I am unaware of, but I'm sure it'll all work out fine in the end. We only got 6 fences left anyway, so I don't think that's going to bring us home. I think I need like 4 more. So that looks like it almost lines up. Almost. I think 1 more at a cata corner right there. I don't know, it's going to be a lot of fencing, though, once we get it all taken care of. And then what I'll try and do is we'll put all the dinosaurs in there. But after this, the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to fly our asses back. Yeah, that's good enough. That'll do it. I mean, it's not my favorite thing that I've ever seen, but it'll work for right now. And then I'll just leave the rest of it open. Just leave like a big gap right there. There you go. I'll just leave a big gap right here so that they can get inside the enclosure. Like I can either ride them in, or I can put them all in follow and then just like drag them through. But until I can have saddles for everything, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than one would assume. So for right now, the things that I want to accomplish, we got our weight sort of back down. I think that we're carrying around a little bit of wood, which I should probably drop and get rid of. I don't know. I usually bring Lash Nasty along with me when I need to farm a whole bunch of wood. But as of right now, I do like this base, and there are things that I want to do with it. I'm not going to retrofit it into stone or anything like that, just because that's going to be really time-consuming. And if I do end up doing it, it'll probably be off camera. I'll go. We got the wooden foundations. That's all fine. Let's throw a little bit of extra thatch inside of there. I'm going to keep a stack of thatch on me. But I don't think there's a reason to do anything else. My food's a little bit low, so we'll eat that. Once I've got that taken care of, let me take a look and make sure that I don't have any missing arrows or anything. I did target practice with the rifle. I've been really pleased with it so far. I was able to kill like a level 25 trike with like 4 shots. It took a little while, but I actually felt like I contributed to the combat. So let's jump on Shiggity Schwa. With Shiggity Schwa, let's go ahead and give you a little bit more stam, my friend. A little bit more stam. If I could up your weight allotment, that'd be great too, but... Can I ride you? There we go. There we go. Take me down to the shore.
Take me down to the shore that's pretty so I can get water that isn't shitty. There's dinosaurs in my water, yeah.
Pooping everywhere. Oh my god. Big old chugs that happen every now and again in this game. Let's go down into the water. We'll grab that. Yep, there it is. We got more than enough water. Shiggity shwa. It's time for us to get the hell out of here. We're going to go back to our other base now. And now that I have myself a flying critter, my goal, the thing that I'm trying to accomplish with this flying critter, is that I would like to get a big squad of other flying critters so that I can get around the map quickly. And I can use them as a mobile... How do I want to say this? I will use them as a mobile transfer service. So essentially, I will use them to fly supplies around the map more rapidly than I could do it on foot. It's going to take me a while to get this set up, so I think at the bare minimum, I'm going to have to capture at least 2 more eagles so that I can have the pterodon and 3 eagles following me around. But by the time we get it done, I really do think that this is going to be like a solid thing to work on. Like, this is an objective that is going to heavily benefit us in the future in taming the island. So I'm going to land my critter real fast. Please don't throw me off the cliff. I would love to not be flung off a cliff. And as soon as your stam is back, a little bit of food falling off right there. Let me take that rotted food off you so I can farm up some more narcotics later on. We'll jump back on, and I think we're going to go to a beta base for right now. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me. I realized this episode didn't have like a whole lot of crazy cool stuff going on, but I wanted to build a fence on camera, show that I am interested in doing the more Minecrafty stuff. It's just that the dinosaurs are so interesting in and of themselves that I always find myself farming dinosaurs and like taming things rather than doing random building tasks. So anyways, I'm glad you all decided to stop by. A little bit of a slow episode right here, but I promise that pretty soon we'll start doing a lot more interesting stuff. My stamina is low and there's a T-Rex down here. Great. A T-Rex fighting with a bunch of trikes. Okay. Let's hang out right here next to these and I will see you all next time. Hi, everybody.